everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, doing another video today. Today I'll touch on a subject I don't normally discuss in my videos, but I do like to get into conversations about the matter with other people face to face. And the subject is on the meaning of the word anarchy. Now, I can sense that a lot of people, when they hear the word anarchy, Mad Max or the Book of Eli comes to mind, where there's no government, federal, state, local is all shut down, and it's like a free for all. But I think it goes deeper than that. For one thing, I don't use the term WROL, without rule of law. I don't use that term in videos or even in my personal life, because I don't think it really means. I don't really think the way it's used is fulfilling what it actually means. I believe without rule of law is akin to anarchy, in the sense that it has to originate somewhere. And looking over history, and looking in the Bible, even looking within myself, anarchy comes from here. It comes from within. It comes from within a person's heart. What's in that person's heart? What do they hold dear to their heart? What are their morals? What are their convictions? I believe that's where anarchy comes from. I believe there's a quote by Ben Franklin where he says, "We must have change on the inside to keep from having change on the outside." So anarchy comes out of having little to no self-control of your desires, of your impulses, of your certain appetites on the inside. Whether it be for money, whether it be for objects, other people, women, men, power. Anarchy originates from within a person's heart, and I believe that before we discuss shit hitting the fan, which is a term I like to use on camera and off camera. I do like to use that term because it just pertains to when whether it be personal disasters or local disasters and national disasters happening. I believe we need to talk about what's on the inside of us before any of that kind of stuff happens. How do we react to things through our day-to-day life? And we have to think about, how would I act when the shit does hit the fan, or when the fecal matter hits the oscillating impeller? I think that sounds a little a little more comical. But what's in our hearts in our day-to-day lives? Christ said that it is not what goes into a man's body, but it's not what goes into a man's mouth, but what comes out of it, because what comes out of his mouth is coming from his heart. And that goes into the subject of anarchy. Are we loose on the inside? Do we think it's okay to lie once in a while? Do we think it's okay to steal once in a while, cheat once in a while? Do we think it's okay to hate certain people? Because I can tell you right now, when if there are people out there already, before any societal collapse happens, there are already people lying, cheating, murdering, stealing, during times when things are relatively okay. Imagine how it's going to be when things are all falling apart around us. And I believe we have to ask ourselves, am I that type of person? And you have to really ask yourself that question and really think about it, because to do so would be to make a great mistake when something bad or catastrophic happens. So I think about when I hear these reports about schools being shot up, that's a form of anarchy. That's someone who's lost self-control within themselves and decide to act on their impulses, or do what feels right to them, to go out and and harm a bunch of bystanders around them. And then the end result of that would be, you have someone coming on TV saying, we need to keep people from having guns. We need to keep people from having high capacity magazines. That's another form of anarchy. That's people acting on the impulse of wanting more control over someone, or over many other people, because of the actions of one person or two or a few people, or even when it comes to we think about people, like you talk about people who people in office who are liars and cheats and thieves. Well, that's during times when everything is relatively okay. Now imagine the people who aren't in office but do the exact same things or have the exact same feelings about things, and then you think about what's going to happen, when everything is falling apart. Their real face is going to, come off. Pretty sure all they've been doing is wearing a mask all this time, but you really will see what they're like, or maybe what may be more scary, you'll really see what you're like, when those kind of things happen. So I believe it is important for us to ask ourselves: are we anarchists within, in the inside of our hearts? Do we have our natural urges, to want to act on certain feelings? Do we have them restrained, or do we have self-control? Essentially, how much self-control do we have, and what would it take for us to, lose our self-control? Whether it be by a small amount or by a large amount. It's very important for us to ask ourselves that question, because it can be very devastating to find out what kind of person we really are, when the shit hits the fan. And I like to talk to people about that kind of stuff because it delves deeper into the real motive behind certain actions. Like people worry about people getting cheated or stealing and things like that. Well, let's say try to figure out why. I like to ask the question: why do people do those things? And it goes back to what's in their heart. If someone's a thief at heart, they're gonna be a thief, whether overtly, shit hits the fan, or covertly when things are relatively okay. Are people liars? Or people killers at heart, or rather, are people murderers at heart? Well, it all depends on their actions when things are okay, and we'll see what the kind of person they're gonna be when things fall apart. I've had to ask myself that kind of question many a times. I think about I make up scenarios where let's say if I'm secure in I'm secure wherever I am, and I hear or he sees someone being attacked outside. So say as a child getting kidnapped, or an elder person getting beaten up, or a woman being raped, or a guy getting shot at. And let's say I'm equipped to actually deal with that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure before this kind of stuff happens, I would require some tools. Am I going to sort of sit back and let it happen, or just try to erase it out of my mind? Because if I am, that shows that I've lost, I've resorted to cowardice, and that's a form of anarchy within ourselves, that we just allow bad things to happen because we don't feel as though we're strong enough to deal with it. And so I've asked myself that question: could I, let that happen? And I thought about it, and I said, what? From what I keep in my heart, from knowing my convictions, I couldn't let it happen. I want to survive, but there's certain things that I shouldn't do to survive, and one of them is to allow someone to get hurt, just so I can save myself any trouble of anything blowing back at me. So yeah, I would go back out and help that person, even if it means putting the attackers down myself. I would go out and help that person, because I have the self-control within me to not let that kind of stuff just happen out in the open. I'd rather happen in front of me where I actually know what's going on. But yeah, it's a very important topic. Ask yourselves, talk to people that you know. Please leave comments on this video. If you think anarchy is, if you agree with what I'm saying, please share your comments. If you don't, I'd be interested in discussing it with you, via personal message or on the comment section on this video. But yeah, that's my take on the subject of anarchy. It all starts from the heart. It's all about self-control. It's not about the absence of government or authority figures around us. Nope, that's my video. I'm Edward Jones, and hope you have a nice day.